Hello, this is Jason Mortimer, EDU 503, Assignment 5.2, Title IX Self Audit. Today we are reviewing the Athletic Department of Ladue Horton Watkins under Prong 2 of the Title IX Compliance Audit as found in LTC 506 in their self audit page 172. As an athletic or as an educational based athletic program, our goal is to provide equitable opportunities for all students. And under federal law, we monitor the compliance through this three-part test coming out in LTC 506, where prong one focuses on the strict proportionality to enrollment. However, I wanted to focus on part two, which is the history and continuing practice of program expansion within Ladue Horton Watkins athletic department. Now, this prong is designed for schools like Ladue that are actively demonstrating expanding opportunities throughout their years for the underrepresented sex. In our case, this would be our female student athletes. Now, by the end of this presentation, you're going to see that the history of adding sports and the current responsiveness to student interest keeps Ladue Horton Watkins in a very strong position of legal and ethical compliance of Title IX. Now, some of the history of the program expansion, I looked at a 20-year period. Over the last 20 years, Ladue Horton Watkins has added 6 distinct girls programs to their athletic offerings. In 2007, field hockey and lacrosse were added. Both of these are emerging sports, according to Misha, as they have less than 50 schools that participate. These programs launched simultaneously in order for the athletic department to offer a spring and fall option. Many of the field hockey players also play lacrosse in the spring. 2008, the athletic department added competitive dance and cheer to their sports offerings. Competitive dance, the Laduettes have had major success, including a 2016 national championship. In 2016, girls golf was added. 2019, girls wrestling was added as part of the major Misha growth sport for female athletes, one of the fastest growing sports in the country. And in 2021, water polo had been added, which demonstrates that Ladue Horton Watkins still has active engagement even post-COVID, when many of the participation rates have declined. Over the years, or over this 20-year timeline, this represents an average of one new program roughly every 3 to 3.5 years, which establishes a clear pattern of responsiveness to the interests and the abilities of our female student athlete population. Currently, taking a look at the rosters, the official rosters from the Misha website, there are 393 female participants, participation slots across the 15 different athletic offerings at Ladue Horton Watkins. Currently, there are 649 girls enrolled. This represents roughly 49% of our total 1325 student body. If you take a look at where our students are gravitating, track and field is by far our largest program with 71 athletes, followed by tennis at 49 athletes. The success of these two programs, I believe, have dictated their numbers. Our girls track and field program has been highly successful with multiple state titles, and our girls tennis program boasts the most state titles in school history with 9. We've also found that roughly 60% of our female athletes participate in 2 or more sports throughout the year. And, even though it's important to note these positive trends, as soccer maintains strong numbers, lacrosse and field hockey are steadily growing. Wrestling has had the highest participation rates, 12 girls, the highest participation rate ever for the program. We are seeing that our girls basketball team and our girls softball teams are following the national trends. Basketball being down 21% in participation since 2000. Um, we are seeing that those national trends are reflected in the same participation numbers that we see at Ladue. But positively, 8 of our female programs are consistently increasing in size, including, again, wrestling and water polo. Now, the growth of the non traditional sports proves that the expansion efforts are working and capturing student athletes who might not have participated in a quote unquote traditional sport maybe even 10 years ago. Now, looking at continuing practice, the Office of Civil Rights requires that there's evidence that a program is growing. They really want to know, what have you done for us lately? Right. Adding 2 varsity level programs within the last 5 years of wrestling and water polo is, our standard. And that is going to be the evidence that we would present. In a period where many districts are cutting programs, especially due to a lot of recent budget tightening, pandemic constraints within the last 5 years, there hasn't been a whole lot of expansion across interscholastic athletics. But this proactively demonstrates that Ladue is not just resting on the history prior to 2007. Um, we are actively monitoring what our current students want and providing the coaching, the facilities, and the funding to make it happen. Now, one of the best metrics we do have from this Title IX audit is that we do have those 60% multi-sport participation rate. In the world of educational-based athletics, this is definitely a major win. It tells us that our coaches are collaborating with each other to make sure that we have strong girls programs throughout the entire athletic department, and they're not competing for our athletes. They're not competing amongst each other for our athletes. Or dividing our athletes, say, hey, you need to focus on this sport over this sport, or forcing our athletes to choose. It means that, when we add a sport like golf or like wrestling, we aren't robbing players from basketball per se. We're just providing our existing athletes with new ways to develop leadership and physical literacy throughout the entire school year. This high rate of multi-sport play is definitely a key indicator of a healthy, student-centered, positive athletic culture. Now, looking ahead, especially conducting a gap analysis, where do we fall short? Right. Compliance is a journey and not just a destination. And our current enrollment for females, we're 90 or 49% female in our enrollment, which means that we must maintain a level of growth because we're not reaching those same enrollment numbers. We're not one for one. To maintain our prong 2 status, having that strong status, our next steps are going to be conducting a formal interest survey. This is going to target our 7th through 11th grade girls, continuing to identify any unmet athletic interests, seeing if there is any hidden demand for a sport that we do not offer yet. We're also going to closely monitor basketball and softball participation trends to determine if we need to make sure that we are bolstering our middle school feeder programs, for example, or if student interest is shifting towards newer sports, growing programs, maybe like lacrosse or girls wrestling. And unfortunately, that does also may mean that we look at a coaching change in the near future. Maybe our current coach is not marketing or retaining athletes like they should. Now, finally, some conclusion here. In summary, our audit confirms that Ladue Horton Watkins is in a firm compliance with Title IX under this Prong 2 standard. Like I said, I didn't want to just use Prong 1 because it's difficult, especially with shifting enrollments. And I understand that Ladue Horton Watkins are about to bring in the largest eighth grade class, and then this largest seventh grade class. Once they become freshmen, these will be the two largest freshman classes in Ladue history. We have a documented history of adding six programs in 20 years, and we want to continue that practice. And more importantly, we have a student body that's highly engaged, with over half our female athletes participating in multiple seasons. And our commitment remains the same. That's to ensure that every student, regardless of gender, has a high quality, equitable opportunity to grow through these sports.